Jack
Do you have a
referring
question?
to? Yeah, is Jack referring to the PowerPoint when he says it's too small?
Possibly. You might be able to just do a zoom in. But let me jump in and
Okay.
start this. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the December 18th, 2015 edition of the Intuit Developer Friday Morning Hangout. I'm your host, David Leary. I'm a developer evangelist for the Intuit Partner Platform. You can follow me at Twitter at David Leary. You can also follow the Intuit Developer team at Intuit Dev. Today we have a special guest for the first hour topic. It's going to be Jason Block. He's a PM for the item services. Specifically, he's going to talk today about the new QBO item bundles that are coming out and what the impacts that will be on developers. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and flip over and stop sharing here and kind of let you see my face for a moment. Good morning. And then I'm going to hand off to Jason. Jason, if you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and unmute yourself and jump in.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, and is my screen showing up also? This is my first time doing this.
Yep, I can see your screen. You're good.
Awesome. Okay.
You may zoom in or flip
Okay.
over to the actual presentation mode, so it's a little bit bigger, but it looks okay. I mean, I can see it.
Okay, I started the presentation mode on my end. So I hope you guys are on the same page as me. But yeah, so my name is Jason Block, and like David said, I'm the platform PM for item services APIs. I've only been into it for 3 months. This is my first job out of college. So because of that, I'll do my best to answer any question you guys have today. But if I'm not 100% sure on something, I'll take the question down and get back to you as soon as possible. So what I was hoping to achieve today was what we put together is a very early stage first draft of the V3 bundle contract. And what that is based on is the existing V3 schema that the developers have been working with. And that does include capabilities for support for group items under the name, or rather bundle items under the name group items. And you guys will see more about that as I show you the actual schema. So I was hoping to just present that to you guys, a little bit of how you would use it, and then maybe get some high-level use cases on your end, see if you think what you were envisioning, interacts the same way that we were envisioning, any yellow, red flags, and then any wishes or desires. And then if there's time, I was hoping we could get a little more general and talk about any V3 pain points in general with regard to inventory. I didn't write that down. And wishes and desires for the next level of APIs. These would be the APIs that are handling all inventory items as opposed to just bundles. So yeah, so that's what I'm hoping we can get done today.
Okay. So just before you jump right in, Jason, so just speaking right now, in QuickBooks Online, you can have service items, and you can have just regular items. You can have inventory items.
Right.
So what would be the need for a bundle?
Sure.
I'm kind of imagining, like, would this be a correct use case? So I'm a plumber, and I have to install a toilet. So I'm going to have some inventory for a couple of the parts. I have my ring. I got my toilet itself, but I have some labor involved, and I could do that's what you guys are kind of calling a bundle of items.
Exactly. Yeah. So some small business owners like you might have, a package or something that they're consistently putting on invoices, and that might include plumbing services and 5 different parts that consistently go into this plumbing package. So instead of having to add each of those individually on an invoice each time to a customer, they want to be able to group them together separately in their products and services list, and then be able to add that bundle directly to the invoice.
Okay, and so this is definitely just a bundle and not like a manufacturing process, right? Where you take
Right. This is not assemblies. Right.
Not assemblies. Got it.
That's not assemblies. Yep.
Perfect. Continue on. I'll go back on mute. Thank you.
Okay, great. So the way that, I put this little chart together that kind of explains how we're envisioning them being used, and it's pretty simple. It might be how you imagine.
Jason,
Yes.
interrupt. I don't think it didn't move the slide. It's still just showing the first.
It's still showing the very first slide?
Yeah, maybe your screen locked up. Maybe you have to stop sharing and reshare it.
Okay. Let me try again.
No, I see your mouse moving. So maybe if you just click on the slide manually here.
Do you see the second slide now?
No, I just
Okay.
see your
I'm
PowerPoint.
just going to try.
There he goes. Now it just worked. Now it's slipping. I can see him.
Okay, I'm going to have to zoom in.
Okay.
But okay, so
Yeah, that
you guys
works.
can see this, right? Okay, so yeah, this is as a very first draft, kind of how we're envisioning bundles being interacted with. And right now, it's very analogous to the way that items are interacted with. It's on both direct reads and transactions, except that the response and request are a little different because they have to embed the group items inside. So I'll show you the request and response in a second. But a very key point here is that so you will be able to read a bundle by issuing a call to the bundle ID just as if it was a regular item. However, as we're currently planning, you won't be able to update a bundle or delete a bundle, meaning set that bundle to inactive through the API. That'll be only doable through the QBO UI. So on the app end, you'll be able to see the bundles are there, and then place them on transactions like this. Retrieve transactions with bundles and update them. But as far as creating new bundles, right now we're only planning on making that available through QBO itself. And the reason for that is that we are planning to release actual CRUD on bundles, full CRUD, with the V4 APIs, which, as you guys might know, they're a long way out, and we aren't planning on making them publicly available until we can say the QBO. They're a long way out.
Okay.
So yeah, for the time
There are kind
being,
of long-term plans to give full access to the bundles.
exactly. But
It's
for
like
the time
just get
being,
a support bundle, and then just getting enough support for developers to utilize those bundles, especially on transactions.
exactly, yeah, just for consistency, of course, between QBO and the apps. But yeah, there's other stuff that that we have in the works that we need to test with bundles before we can make full CRUD publicly available. So yeah, that's what I was hoping to get some feedback on that, and because that is a big point that wouldn't be doable through the API. So I was hoping to get some opinions on what developers might feel about that.
Hey, well,
Yeah, Jay.
yeah, this is Jack from Atex,
Hi,
and
Jack.
we have a bunch of products that basically do importing into, well, both QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online.
Okay.
And our biggest concern is just basically being able to, create a transaction with the items that are needed. So I don't see a big need for adding or deleting or modifying the groups or bundles now. What I
Gotcha.
do see has always been an issue, and this goes back to the QuickBooks Desktop groups, is
Mhm.
that somebody might buy a bundle online, a group online, and the online price might be different than the QuickBooks price. And in QuickBooks Desktop, at least, you don't have a price on a group, which is
Right.
a composite of all these components. So although we can break it down and say, okay, it's $10 cheaper, and where do you want to have the $10 show up, and how do you want to do that? There's various ways we could do that. Do we still have to do that with the new QBO bundles?
So what?
Got it.
Why?
So
Sorry, David.
I was
Go
going
ahead.
to say, so kind of what Jack's talking about, right, is like step 4 there, or line 4, you have that post. So when I post
Mhm.
this bundle onto an invoice, can I also, when I do that post request, am I passing in the price of that bundle also? Is that available to developers? And I know you have details, and you're going to go down the post request a little bit. I noticed you have a couple more slides, but
Yeah.
I think that's a really good question, Jack. If you can pass that in, that's a good one.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so give me 1 second on that. Um, okay, so I can't. So I'll show. Let me. This is the response for an invoice, um, and so as you can see here, this is. There's a lot to explain, I guess, but this is the bundle line, and it does include an amount, which is the sum of all the items within it. So right now, the logic has to be on your guys' end when you create a transaction to sum up the component. If you're creating a new transaction request just from scratch, it's on you guys to sum up the component items within the bundle and then place that as the total amount in this line. So if you wanted to, you could also add in on, and if you were updating a transaction, for instance, you could add in a, you could add in a discount item or something. You could add additional lines. They just wouldn't apply to that specific bundle. There's no way to embed them within the bundle on a transaction.
Okay. So
Does that make sense?
It sounds like it'll handle Jack's use case then. Like you are able to pass in the amount. So if I'm using some field service app, right, and I'm out in my field service app, I choose toilet install. Whatever price I have, whatever price I specify in that app, right, and I'm charging the customer for, I can pass that price all the way back to the invoice.
Right, and ideally you would want it to be a reflection of the items that are within the bundle already. But if you wanted to make this, a custom bundle, then you could just embed another line in there. And this is for an invoice that you're creating. You can embed another line in there and then change the bundle total accordingly. But it just wouldn't affect the bundle item. It would just be its representation on that specific transaction.
Exactly. So it's really up to the end user to price. We're not doing any magic of, hey, you have these 8 things in your bundle. Here's the total price. The end user has to, in the QuickBooks UI, specify the total price of the bundle, or the developer, when they're passing in the bundle on a transaction, specifies the price of the bundle.
Right. Yeah. On creating a transaction, the developer has to do the work of summing up the items and putting it on there. So that would be the window for there'd be logic for the user to add in other things.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too good.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too good to me. That means that we have to not only get the bundle, look at all the data in there, and do all those calculations. That seems to be a lot of work that we really shouldn't have to do.
So you're saying when you create a transaction with the bundle?
Yeah, I got somebody wants to buy a bathroom set, right? And there are 150 different pieces to that bathroom set. So we have to read the bundle and look at all the items in there, saying, okay, this thing has the handle for this thing is $5, and there's 3 of them that's going to go in this package set. So we have to do all those calculations.
Because we do want to make available the ability for, say, the user to add in on the transaction on your guys' end an additional discount item.
That's definitely different. That's something different.
Okay.
So I guess maybe another way to ask this question, then, Jason, would be, so if obviously I have the ability to post an amount, right, for the toilet install, right, and using that same example, do I have the ability to post and not specify the amount, and then it'll just use whatever amount was on default on that bundle in QuickBooks Online? Or does that require the developer has to pass that every time?
Yeah. So if you were to create, pass a create request, and this is exactly a perfect example of something that's not totally fleshed out and that we are hoping to get your feedback on. But there's no reason that if you pass a create request without specifying the amount and it's just the default state of the bundle, we should be able to sum up the insides on our end. But I guess if you wanted to, show that number on the UI from the very start, then you would have to sum it up, right? We could have the logic when we receive the create request to sum up the components, but unit price is not part of the bundle. It's not part right now. That's not the plan to have the total unit price of the components of the bundle be part of the bundle response itself.
Well, forget about the response. I'm mostly concerned with the request. So that I got a bundle. It has all these components in it, and in QuickBooks they might add up to $100, but there's a sale going on now, and we're selling it for $90. We could put in a discount item on there someplace, but it just seems like maybe we should just be able to give it a total price, but then then we have to be responsible for where does that $10 come out of the components?
So you're saying you want to just be able to place the bundle on there with the component whose component members initially totaled to $100, and you want to be able to just change the total, and then it just, but from an accounting perspective, just somehow, if you get, I mean, the only way would be like a discount across the board, across those items within there, right? Which is the same thing as a discount. I mean, from an accounting perspective, that money has to come from somewhere.
Right. I understand that, but I would like it to work like the other items as much as possible. So, so you're saying that if the discount price is $90, which is $10 off, that would give it a total price of the 90, and then for each of the components of that group, we have to subtract that.
Now, so the way that it should function is, and this is a perfect example, like I said, of something that we're fleshing out. But you should be able to add in a 10% discount item in the request under the bundle, and then when we receive that, and this would only apply to this specific transaction, we would receive that, and then total up all the items, apply a 10% discount to them, and then in the response to you, display that as the total amount of the bundle.
Okay. Now you mentioned a discount. QBO only has a discount on the bottom of the transaction, not really a line item discount like the desktop that has. So what exactly are you referring to?
So that might not be possible then to add in the discount under the bundle within a transaction. You would be able to, let's say, but same thing. If you discounted the whole thing, it's basically, we have to do the logic of applying that to every single one of the bundle items, and the other items that are not in bundles in the transaction, and then we would update the amount on the bundle to reflect that, the now 10% discounted items within the bundle. Even, like you said, that applies to the whole transaction. You put it at the very bottom.
I think you lost me there. So are you saying
Sorry.
You will recalculate the components unit prices if we put in a different price for the group price?
Right. So you're saying you want to be able to pass in the request, not have to do the logic of summing up everything. You want to be able to just pass in the bundle items to the request properly formatted, and then the 10% discount at the bottom. And we will return a response that has the amount now embedded within the bundle line right here. See, here, this will now be calculated to reflect what you just entered, the discounts.
In the discount line, Jack, actually, even though there's not, in the same way in the old QuickBooks desktop days, there was actually a discount item. There was an item type, right? And you could put that out as a line item on an invoice, and we calculate on the discount on the line above it, right? There's actually you can, in QuickBooks Online, you can actually just create a service item, call it like 2% discount, and put the rate as a negative 2%, and now basically it'll function in a very similar way. I'm going to paste a link for that out and just kind of share this out because I think this is useful for everybody involved. Switch screens here. So I'll paste it in the chat and then also do it into the showcase for anybody watching externally also. So there's the link there, Jack. So you can essentially, it's going to function essentially the same way a discount item functioned before in the old QuickBooks desktop days. You get the same effect.
Okay.
And then I'm going to share that for anybody who's watching this kind of in the YouTube type experience or after the fact. I'm going to share this out in the showcase about how to do discounts as line items. So, and in theory then, and this is something maybe Jason you need to flesh out on your end more.
Yep.
I think in theory, since you can create you can create to what amounts to a discount item itself, right? That if you can actually create that in QBO and apply that as a line item, the next question is naturally like, okay, can you put those into builds? And I'm sorry, not builds.
Group items, right? Bundles, right?
Yeah. And then what really happens when you start sticking that in bundles? Right. Because I think that's something probably to explore down that path.
Right. So you're saying, is it possible to add in a discount line item within the bundle and have it only apply to all the items within the bundle? That's definitely something that we need to flesh out. So that's a great question.
Because I mean, I think from a QBO standpoint, it's not. It's using a normal item, and like and from the code point of view, from the bundles point of view, they don't know it's a discount. They just see this minus 2% rate. Like, do you calculate correctly off of that, or how does that work? Yeah, so it's just something to kind of deep dive on, I think, as you're building out these API services.
So the use case that we're talking about right now, Jack, is when you're talking about you read it or you create a transaction. This is not an update. This is creating a new transaction, and you want to add in a bundle that you've read before that you know exists. So you know the components of that, and then you want to know how the user can embed embed a discount in there or embed an item without recalculating the total. Is that right?
Well, I think I understand how to put a discount item in there.
Okay.
It's just that I really don't like the idea that we have to read all the components of it and feed it back into it.
Read all the components in order to just create the response or the request.
In order to create the request, why not just do what we can in QuickBooks Desktop? Says, okay, here's the group items called Group 1, 2, 3, and I got 5 of them. And we don't have to look at any components. We don't have to do any other calculations or anything.
Okay. So, but then, so on your end, you're making, okay, so you're saying you would be able to display for the user of your app when they're deciding what bundles to place into this transaction. Will they be able to see the components? If they choose gift basket, will they be able to be reminded, oh, gift basket has this stuff?
No, in our case, we're not displaying anything. We are importing from a different whatever, whether it be a file or a website. Somebody's placed an order online, and now they want to bring it to QBO. And somebody bought a makeover, and they have a new bathroom, and a new living room, and a new everything. So I can see a lot of groups in there. So I didn't want to have to go and recalculate all the different components of each group. I just like to say, hey, here's the bathroom set, bang, we get 1 of those. Oh, here's the bedroom set, there are 3 of those. Okay, as opposed to reading all the components, putting that all together, and into a big request, and the chance of us making an error in that is a lot greater than if we just had to say, hey, I just need 3 bedroom sets.
But you're talking about importing from bundles from something other than QBO, right?
Right.
Okay. So because we're not providing create, update, or delete of bundles, I'm not sure how that's going to work, because you would be reading them in from this other websites in a different formats, and then you wouldn't actually be able to create that bundle, as a.
I'm not trying to create a bundle. Okay. It already exists in QBO.
Oh, it exists in QBO as well. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to be able to say, okay, they bought 3 of these, and this bedroom set, has 500 pieces in it, and I don't want to have to recalculate each and every single component. It just seems like a wasted effort.
Right. So you would read in, you do an item read on the bundle, right? And then it would come back like this. It's a group item, and you can see the items within it, the quantity. If you wanted to do a more detailed, read on. So this gives you enough information to display on a UI that these are the components. It doesn't have at all the unit prices here. Now, if you place this item onto this whole bundle with ID 5 onto a transaction, then we should calculate what all of these sum up into and return you a response that now has the total amount like this. Does that make sense? Okay.
So Jason, if I do a read on an item, going back to just the get, right? The read on the bundle. If I do a read on a bundle, and I see all the individual, obviously based on this, it looks like I get the items in that bundle, and I see the price of those items in that bundle.
You don't see the price, actually. Value is...
Oh, value is the quantity?
No, the quantity is here. Value is the ID.
Oh, okay, got it, the ID. So then the do I see the price at all?
No, you don't.
When I do the read?
No, so
See
you'd
the
have to
items in the
do an
bundle?
item. You'd have to do to get the price of these individual items. You'd have to do a read on this ID now.
So what if I don't care about the values of the individual items, but I just want to know what the price of this gift basket is?
Right. So we don't have the unit price in here now. So if you wanted to, you're saying you want to display the total price of, just on your UI. You just want to be able to read in the bundle and say, here's what it costs in total.
Well, even if it's not on the UI, I think as a developer, right? Like if I can read other items on the item list and get the price of that item,
right?
It feels like if I read a bundle, because if I'm in the UI of QBO and that bundle's listed there, I see the total price of the bundle because the end user can specify the price of that bundle, right?
Yeah.
It feels like that should be a field like that.
Oh, well, wait. The user can't specify an end price for the bundle that doesn't reflect its components, and that includes discounts in there. The discounts is the only way to alter the total price of the bundle.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So maybe that was a big misunderstanding then of what. Okay, got it. So at the QBO UI level, the bundle price is always going to be whatever components are in there. Like you can't override or change a bundle price.
Exactly.
Got it. Very interesting. Okay, so the only time you can override the price is at the time of invoice creation.
Yes, right. Then you could add in things there. We're not sure if you'll be able to add in discounts that'll automatically apply to the whole bundle, but let's say, you could add in items embedded within that bundle, an additional item. That would affect the total price of that bundle only on this transaction, not the actual item itself, not the bundle itself.
Got it. Interesting. Okay, because I think maybe the expectation was, you create an item bundle, gift basket, and you price that for whatever you want to price it for. So it's definitely dependent on the individual price. We're rolling the price up. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, sorry if I wasn't clear on that. Yeah, it's purely a convenience. Yeah, a convenience provided of rolling the price up so that they don't have to enter the items individually. But besides that, it's completely the same functionality as entering the items individually.
And are bundles available yet in QuickBooks Online? As far as I know, not as a release feature, but are they even available through the QBO? For example, inventory was available for almost 6 months. Just you had to go and enable it through the QBO Labs tab. Are the bundles available even through a backdoor flipping this feature on yet, or is it still kind of down the road?
So these are within the schema, but it's not. Yeah, the contract is not flushed out yet, so there's no logic to do the things like summing up the amount or anything. So.
All right. So I'm gonna ping it. I'm just gonna go into QuickBooks Online and look at the Labs tab and see if there's anything flipped on for this, just for everybody's sake, so we know. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So I know you had kind of an outline of some other things you wanted to talk about, but I think that slide didn't share when you originally brought it up, so I don't know if you want to go back to that slide.
Oh, yeah. So I was hoping to get some general feedback on the V3 APIs with regard to items, but obviously the bundle issue is much more relevant on our agenda right now, so I definitely only wanted to get to this if we had extra time, but there are a lot of good things coming up right now. So
let me I'm just going to flip over to the Q&A just in case anybody's not actually joined and they're just watching it, and I'm just going to see if there's any questions. If any of you are just watching this as kind of that YouTube Hangout on our experience, feel free. I have the questions panel open. Feel free to ask questions if you'd like, and I can get those over to Jason to get those answered. Cool. All right, jump back in, Jason. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean that sounds great. Yeah, like I was just saying, this is very, very much first draft. Development on this is just starting, so this is a long ways out, and we're trying to get feedback before we, commit to any code that's in the wrong direction. So thanks a lot, Jack. Appreciate your help.
No, I mean that's what we're trying to. Yes, that's the one thing we tend to always do. We don't show it early enough, right? Don't get developers' feedback, and then it comes out, and then we find out the 10 things we left out of it. So yeah, showing this early when it's still just your PowerPoint slides is probably the best way to do this before it actually exists.
And I'm an equal opportunity complainer.
Jack's a tough audience. So Jason, I don't know if you have anything else, or we could kind of wrap up on you. But did you have people might be watching this on YouTube after the fact. Is there any way they could send feedback into you? Is it okay to put your email address out there?
Yeah, absolutely, please. And I'd love to be able to send out the documentation on this, and it's a little bit more thorough than just these PowerPoint slides. So yeah, I'd love for more people to take a look at that and just think about it a little bit and send in any thoughts they have.
Okay, maybe if you go back up to your cover slide, you could actually just add your email address to that slide and leave it on the screen for a second, and then people could easily jump in and send you an email if they need to after the fact, if they have feedback or questions. And then maybe if you get another, you use your Intuit email maybe. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, good call.
It's just habit, huh?
Sorry?
It's just habit of typing your other email.
Yeah, exactly.
And then maybe after you kind of flesh some of these things out and you're ready to take a second stab, or maybe when the UI is done in QBO, maybe we bring you on again, maybe even with the QBO product manager, and kind of walk through it again, kind of show where things are headed now on that second.
Yeah, I would hope. Yeah, I mean that's honestly a long way out. We're still developing the basics of the back end for this, so I would hope to be able to establish a more regular channel with anyone who wants to reach out to me with feedback on this, and just update you as we're going along to make sure we're all aligned.
Yeah. I actually have a question came in from the panel, somebody just watching, from Pete Simek. Let me read this out loud here. So, all right, ready? I have a more basic question about items. If a customer creates a transaction in our app and we push it to QBO, does it have to have an item, or does it just need a GL account and class? I think Pete, you definitely have to pass in an item on it. The invoices use items, and it's kind of the fundamental architecture of QuickBooks Online, so you do have to create an item. Now, you could do that very lazily and just create one item called service, have that posting to a GL account, and just slam everything as one big total on one generic type of an item. But you have to utilize an item when you do create a sales transaction.
I did see cases where when we left it out, it automatically defaulted to service or something
to a
like
service
it.
item. Yeah. Hopefully, Pete, that I know it's hard to tell if you had your question answered or not when it's kind of just a type it on the side and you're not actually in the.
Yeah. Hey, also I can definitely take down the question if we're not totally sure on the answer, and I'll email you back as soon as I can later today.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Pete, did you want to jump in to the Hangout? Let me make sure you have that. I'll put the participation link in the view you're watching, so you can actually jump in and you can actually get clarification on that. Let me give you the URL here, Pete. Sorry, I'm flipping screens here for Pete to get him into the Hangout here. All right, we'll see if Pete can actually join successfully. I just pasted in the URL for him.
Yeah.
And he had kind of a secondary question about like if an item could ever have a different GL accounts then. So you could actually, in theory, you could create 10 different items and have them each post to a different GL account. I think that's maybe what Pete might be asking.
I have another question going back to the groups. Are there anything limitation as to what a group can be comprised of? Like, can you have groups within groups?
You can't. No. Can't put a category in a group, and you can't put a group within a group. Besides that, no limitations.
But otherwise, it can be a sports service, non-inventory, and inventory?
Yep.
Thank you.
trying to give Pete a chance to jump in here and see if he's able to get in. So Jason, just so people can understand a little bit more about you, so you said this is your first job right out of college, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You're kind of jumping right into the world of inventory, which is like in items, which is to some extent a little bit of the more complicated things in QuickBooks Online. So it's welcome to the party.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, great. It looks like Pete's not able to jump in. He's not seeing where I pasted the link at. So, but he did say that we successfully answered his question. Great. Thanks, Pete. Cool. I think if everybody's out of questions, we could probably think about wrapping up early today and let people get on the way to their holiday weekend. So I'm going to flip over. If Jason, if you had any closing thoughts or comments, or Jack, and if not, I will get things wrapped up here on my end.
That's about it for me. I mean, since there is a little extra time, I mean, Jack, if you have anything offhand, just in general complaints without, just about item usage, B3.
Oh, you know me.
Dangerous road to go down.
No, I think that my beefs this might be making sure that the documentation for this comes out in sync with everything else, and this has to do with there's a sandbox, and then there's production, and then there's what's available by the REST and the JSON and XML, and then there's the .NET SDK, which is what we use.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to figure out how to use the .NET SDK to put all these components together. So it's gets to be kind of troublesome when you have to go down and read all these components in order to figure out what the true price is.
Right, got it. Yeah, we definitely need to do a better job there. And ideally, we'd be able to hopefully make this available in Sandbox, like categories, pretty early on to get your guys' feedback on it. Hopefully that, yeah.
And it's something we've struggled with in the past, and a lot of it's just the fundamental architecture, right? Is put a feature in QBO. We used to build the API for the QBO feature after the fact, and then after the fact we'd build out a sandbox support for that feature. Then after that we're building out the support for the .NET or PHP SDKs, and then the documentation would always be kind of trailing, right? And this kind of like waterfall type approach. And now really as a feature, for example, when bundles goes live in QBO, basically the same time bundles go live for developers, right? So there's not going to be these gaps in this lacking of the documentation. Now I think in the next level, like you think about the V4 item services and going forward with QuickBooks Online, and when QuickBooks Online is built on top of the APIs, right? Now all of a sudden you have this documentation window just gets slammed shut. It gets really, really tight really fast. And then breaking changes don't occur as much, and it kind of pushes through that thing. But yes, the documentation team is like always in this game, in this battle of kind of always playing catch up. It's tough stuff, but and Jack's definitely right that it's been a headache before, but it's slowly getting it's actually getting a lot better. Things are getting tighter. It would be nice when a new feature goes out in QBO, the API support, and the PHP, and the .NET, and all the SDKs all get updated all on the same day at the same time, and all the documentation matches. That would be the best scenario for sure. Cool.
That's one of the things that once a user sees something on their UI, they just assume that we could use it. And then when we can't, they start looking at talk to another company, until they talk to 5 different companies, until they realize that it's not available yet. So it's a big waste on everybody's time.
Right.
Great. Cool. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and just get things closed out. I just want to thank Jason. Thank you so much for coming in and getting feedback from developers early. It's a really a good trade of a PM.
Thanks so much, guys.
Appreciate it. Jack, thanks for all the good feedback and questions on this. I'm going to go ahead and end the Hangout. Everybody, so there won't be any Hangout on Christmas Day. There won't be a Hangout on January 1st. The week after that, so I think we're looking at January 9th, that Friday, that week is going to be, Lynn's going to come on, and the product manager for the QuickBooks Desktop SDK is going to come on. We're going to kind of do a retro Hangout, and it'll be all things QuickBooks Desktop, just to kind of let get it out there and let people who are now kind of looking into supporting some desktop features or have an old SDK integration and they want to get some questions clarified. So the product manager, William Lurfing, will be on for that. And then a week after that, I'm probably looking into having Jim Savage on to talk about kind of the pluses and minuses and the risk of using IF files just straight out of the box versus passing an IF file through another product like JackSpark or Transaction Pro Importer or Access, to where some logic's being applied to the IF file, but kind of the pluses and minuses on why a developer would want to choose to do an API call versus just creating a dumped comma-separated value file. So that'll be that's really out 4 weeks for that. But if not, I'll see everybody in 3 weeks after enjoying the holidays. Thanks everybody for joining, and talk to you soon. Bye.
Happy
Thanks so much,
holidays.
guys. Happy holidays.